My dear friends, today we celebrate the 8th Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year C. The readings today focus on the importance of how we use the gift of speech in our life. The first reading is taken from the book of Sirach, which is one of the 7 deuterocanonical books that you will not find in a Protestant Bible. Because of its frequent use in early Catholic teaching and worship, it was given the alternate title of Ecclesiasticus, from the Greek word for church, ecclesia. The reading teaches that what is inside us is revealed through our conversation. As the grain and husks are separated in a farmer's sieve, as the quality of the metal is revealed in the potter's fire, and as the size and quality of a tree's fruit reveal the care it has received from the planter. The words that come out of us make known the hidden thoughts within us. Speech reveals the secrets of the heart. Sirach teaches that speaking is the test of men and their character. One who is upright will utter words that are truthful and encouraging to others. But one whose heart is cluttered with garbage will be exposed, since the fruit of his mouth speaks volumes about the tree that produces it. Speech is the principal criterion for evaluating a person's character. How often do we say things we regret later? Words spoken in anger can wound deeply, while words of kindness and encouragement can heal and uplift. Sirach reminds us that our speech is like the fruit of a tree. It reveals the quality of our inner life. If our hearts are rooted in love, wisdom, and humility, our words will reflect that. But if we allow bitterness or pride to take root, they too will spill out in what we say. This passage is an invitation to self-reflection. What do my words say about me? Do they bring life or cause harm? Do they reflect patience, love, and faith? Before we speak, let us pause and ask, do I need to speak these words? Do these words build up or tear down? The reading challenges us to cultivate a heart rooted in wisdom and love, so that our speech may always be a reflection of God's grace within us. The second reading, taken from St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, St. Paul proclaims the ultimate victory of Christ over sin and death. This passage celebrates the fulfillment of God's promise that death, which entered the world through sin, has been defeated through the resurrection of Jesus. Paul reminds us that the sting of death is sin, meaning that sin is what makes death fearful. But through Christ's sacrifice, sin has been overcome, and therefore death no longer has the final say. Paul then encourages believers to stand firm in their faith, knowing that their labor in the Lord is never in vain. This is a call to perseverance, because Christ has conquered death. Our struggles, sacrifices, and sufferings have eternal meaning. This passage invites us to live with confidence and hope. No matter what challenges we face, we are assured of victory in Christ. Death is not the end, but the gateway to eternal life. Let us stand firm in faith, serve God with love, and remain steadfast, knowing that our work for His kingdom is never wasted. In the Gospel taken from Luke, we read an extract from the passage about judging others. Jesus' parable about the blind leading the blind is not about physical blindness, but about spiritual guidance. Using a common literary technique of his time, Jesus employs 2 statements about sight to highlight his central message: the relationship between teachers and disciples. He warns that misguided teachers will lead others astray, reinforcing the need for true wisdom and discernment. The second part of the passage complements the first by illustrating that good teachers, like good trees, are known by the fruit they produce. It is not their size or prominence that matters, but the nourishment they provide to others. Our words and works make it clear what is in our hearts. The person who fails to tell the truth or who uses vulgar language or words that wound doesn't have a communication problem, but a heart problem. Just as an X-ray or an MRI reflects the condition of our physical heart, our words and works reflect accurately the condition of our spiritual heart. I was recently installing CCTV cameras in the church, and one major challenge was to avoid blind spots, areas which are not covered by the camera. With more than 30 cameras covering the campus, even if there is one blind spot, we compromise the security of the entire complex. In our spiritual lives as well, we face a similar difficulty. Have we ever been quick to point out someone else's mistake, only to later realize that we had our own faults to work on? Jesus' words in this passage remind us that before we try to fix others, we need to take an honest look at ourselves. So often we judge without fully understanding. We see a flaw in someone, a bad habit, a mistake, a weakness, and immediately react. But Jesus asks us, are you truly seeing clearly? Maybe the impatience we criticize in others is also in our own hearts. Maybe the pride we condemn in someone else is just a mirror of what's inside us. Jesus isn't saying we shouldn't help others grow, but rather that we must first let God transform us. Only when we remove our own plank can we see clearly enough to offer true guidance with humility and love. If we fill our hearts with kindness, patience, and God's grace, that's what will flow out of us. But if we let negativity, pride, or resentment take root, our words and actions will reflect that. We would rather point out a dozen sins in the life of someone else than take an honest look at the sin in our own life. We love to point the finger at others, but when someone points it at us, we are quick to defend our actions and make excuses for our failures. Today, Jesus' message challenges us to seek authentic sources of wisdom and to cultivate lives that bear lasting spiritual fruit. The fruit of our lives serves as a spiritual indicator. We are called not just to appear righteous, but to cultivate genuine goodness within us. The transformation Christ calls us to is not superficial, but deeply rooted in a relationship with Him. It is only through prayer, the sacraments, and openness to grace that our hearts can be purified, leading to a life that bears abundant fruit. Let us all remember Sirach's advice that we begin by speaking less and listening more. The very act of listening is an admission that we need to see through others' eyes as well as our own. We are all blind in some way. Admitting it will lead us to care with and for one another. May God bless us all.